Welcome back to The Lead in national news. Your child's school day no longer sponsored by Coca-Cola under new rules being pushed by First Lady Michelle Obama today. The new regulations would stop companies from advertising junk food inside schools, which would mean, say, no giant Coke or Pepsi logos on scoreboards or in gyms. Right this moment, the First Lady is at an event at a school in Miami, Florida, after announcing the new measures today on the 4th anniversary of her Let's Move campaign to combat childhood obesity.
I think we can all agree that our classrooms should be healthy places where kids are not bombarded with ads for junk food.
Some celebrities are helping to promote Let's Move on this anniversary, including funny man Will Ferrell, who joined the First Lady for a little focus grouping.
Getting a good body and staying healthy is about dedication and consistency and eating right.
So, no entire honey-baked hams.
Sorry.
It's one thing to get the backing of Hollywood, but for many other people in this country, the Let's Move campaign is a quintessential nanny state idea. And what about results? After 4 years, is the First Lady's Let's Move campaign really working? I want to talk about it with Margot Wu-Tan, Director of Nutrition Policy at the Center for Science in the Public Interest. Her agency has collaborated with Let's Move in the past. And Genevieve Wood, Senior Contributor for the Foundry at the Heritage Foundation. So, Genevieve, let's start with you. It's no secret you're not a fan of Let's Move. What do you make of these new restrictions against advertising junk food in schools?
Yeah. Well, first of all, look, it sounds good. Everybody says, yeah, let's keep the bad stuff in that sense away from the kids. But I think if a local school district was to make that call, if a state wants to debate that and make that call, and some states have, that's one thing. But I don't think it's the role of the federal government. And as to whether it's working, look, these kids go to places outside schools. Are we going to ban advertising for Coca-Cola from anywhere else that kids are going to show up? They don't just stay in school their entire lives. So I think the question of it being effective, I think it's a little bit artificial. Sounds like we're doing something good. Is it really effective?
Margot, why the federal government? Why not state and local authorities?
Well, Genevieve is very much in the minority on this. Parents want healthy school foods, and they want junk food marketing out of schools. Even the beverage industry agreed with the First Lady's announcement this morning. Food marketing has a very strong impact on children's diets and health. It affects what they want to eat, what they're willing to eat, what they even think of as food. And unfortunately, most of the marketing in schools is for unhealthy foods. It's for sugary drinks, snack foods, fast food, and other foods that parents want their kids to be eating less of.
Well, see, that I think is one of the questions. Which parents are we talking about? We're pretending so you're pretending the majority of parents can decide what all kids eat or don't eat. And I think based on what came out this morning, sugary drinks can't be advertised. Well, Diet Coke isn't a sugary drink, but there are a lot of folks who don't think Diet Coke is good for people, even though it doesn't have sugar in it. The federal government's got a track record here. Back in 1992, not that long ago, they came out with something called the food pyramid. We now know that food pyramid wasn't so right. It didn't distinguish between fats. It said that people ought to eat a high carbohydrate diet. Well, if it was so good, why? And we taught that in schools. Why do we have an obesity problem today?
Well, because
the fact is, it's because it's not the government's
pyramid
fault.
Is not responsible for the obesity epidemic.
Well, not
the majority of parents. We send our kids to school each day for a long period of time, 6 to 8 hours. Most parents want that to be a healthy, safe environment because we're not there to guide our food choices. So most parents want the food choices and the marketing to be healthy. Schools are a taxpayer-funded institution. They are the government. And so it's just a matter of making those environments safe and healthful the way parents want it to be.
Well, I would have to argue with that and say if parents are so supportive of this, then why don't parents in their local districts go and say, we want this taken out of our schools?
They are.
They don't need the federal government to step in and do it. And talk about the role of the federal government. The federal government should be trying to do things like not passing on trillions upon trillions of dollars of debt to the next generation of Americans.
We can discuss that.
That's something they ought to work on.
We all agree on that. We all agree on that.
Yeah, but that's the role for them. And this is an area where, why are they spending time and energy on this, especially when, as you say, parents already know it's the right thing. They can make these choices at the local level.
Why should the federal government spend time and energy?
This helps get parents what they want. Most of us, we're raising our kids, we're working, we have a lot of responsibility. We don't have time to go school by school, district by district, to put into place sensible policies. This is a policy that most people want, and it is a local wellness policy. So the scope of it and how it's run, how it plays out, will have a lot of local influence. But this is responding to the demand that parents have voiced. This is not pushing something down parents'
This is
throats.
more government saying you don't know how to pick your own doctor, so let's figure out health care for you. You don't know how to take care of your children when it comes to nutrition, so we'll take care of that for you. It is indeed the nanny state.
It is not at all the nanny state. We're already spending $15 billion a year on the school lunch and breakfast program every day. It's a nutrition program. The food should be nutritious. And to support that, we want to have a healthy school environment. The marketing will follow the same standards as a school food standard.
I would just have to ask, what is the track record? We've had school lunch programs, school breakfast programs for years. They didn't just show up under Michelle Obama. And as we know, many parents don't like what had been served in those for years. And we have an obesity problem today. Even though children have been in public schools, many of them eating these very programs you talk about.
Mark, I'll give you the last word.
The schools that have strong nutrition programs and good nutrition policies, the kids have lower obesity rates and healthier diets there. Schools are working very hard to improve the nutritional quality of the foods. Parents are happy with the changes, but there's still more work to do.
To be continued. Great debate. We really appreciate both of it. Margot Wooten and Genevieve Wood, thank you so much for coming in. We'll flip